Hi and welcome, this is DCS, Digital Combat Simulator. These are the settings that I'm using just to start off the video. The new multi-threading update came out. My first impressions are it is keeping much higher frame rates and it's not going to such low lows. So it is an improvement. That's my initial impression at the moment and it's working well. I would use this over the standard version at the moment. That's how much better it's working. So yeah, these are my settings. I'm going to show you just my load times to try and bring up this mission. The mission that I'm using, so you can compare exactly, is going to be in the description of the video. So just check out the description of the video and then you can see this mission. You can run it yourself. It is a mission that I made and I was running this morning before the update and I'm now running it after the update. So I have seen both and yeah, you have the frames per second in the top left of the screen as well as the in-game frames per second as well in the top left of the screen. So you can see both of them. And we'll give this a go and see how we go. I'm just going to do the first objective in this mission, so I'm not going to go on a crazy flight, but once we get into the game we can actually start showing off the frames per second. I thought I'll just show you the load time as well for me with the multi-threading update and all, so that's what you're getting to see at the moment. Just running off an SSD, you can get a faster computer than me. I am using a 4090 with a 5950X, but you can definitely get a faster machine than me if you wanted to, especially with the CPU. So we're in the game and we'll let it load up. But we can see the frame rate's quite high already, so we've got about 300, 200 there. It's just not going to as lower lows. It's just not seeing those 100 frames per second anymore. It's just doing like 200, 300 frames per second a lot of the time. So that's what I'm seeing in the game. We'll just take this off. I'll take you on the flight with me. Let's get going. So I'm going to go down to here. I'm going to go through all of this. And we pretty much had the plane started up. We're just waiting for the systems to get going here. And then we can do the final part. We're just going with what weapons are on the plane. So I'm just going to click air to ground and then put power on. And then we're just waiting up here for the INS to complete. And we got the RDY signs and then we can switch this to nav. But yeah, that's the whole start up done. And we'll just have a little look at the FPS. I mean, it's running silky smooth. It's very, very good at the moment with the multi-threading update. At least with this aircraft. There's a lot of testing to do with all the different modules and all the different maps. We're using the Syria map, but yeah, if you have the Syria map and you have this plane and you want to download my mission, feel free. You can see the exact same sort of number of units in my map and all that sort of stuff. There isn't like a low number of units on this map. There's quite a lot of stuff going on. So yeah, it's doing okay. 260 frames per second there. Just waiting for that to get started. I'm going to just turn this off for the moment because I don't need it. And just go up here. We're just waiting for the RDY to light up, but our cold and dark start is done. I haven't really given it a look over, but it should be alright. at the moment. We've even put on Pro Pete at the back, we've put on INS to norm, we've turned on the lights the way we wanted them. We can turn this on for fun. All of that power's on, this is powered on, this is sitting on auto at the moment. And then landing lights on cat free because we have a lot of stuff on here. So we've got that turned on. I've already put on the master arm, which of course you would not be doing, and I've powered it on, but I'm all ready for the bomb drop before I even got off the ground. So that's what I've done. I've now put it onto nav, and all we need to do is it's coming with this all the way down, so I'm just going to move it all the way up, just especially in this light in the morning. And then we'll start moving the plane forward. We could have put the parking brake on and then release the parking brake. It's probably another thing I could have done, but I'm just trying to show the FPS. I'm not trying to show anything else at the moment. You can come on this little mission with me all the way from the settings to the actual running. But yeah, look, my first impressions of this multi-threading are that it works quite well, and it's impressive. It's just not going to as lower lows as it was able to do before. It's just keeping that much higher frame rate, which is what we want ultimately. So that's really good. You can definitely get a quicker CPU for me. It's 5950X that I'm running, and with a 4090 graphics card, and I've only got 32 gigabytes of RAM, which you can see in the top right. But of course it's not seeming to use all of 32 gigabytes. Whether you need 64 gigabytes in the future or with a really complicated map, I don't know. But that's all I'm running at the moment, so you could get a quicker machine for me for sure. Okay, so we'll just get this plane in the sky. Have a little look over here. I am using the Tobii Eye Tracker 5 if you haven't noticed. So that's what I'm using here in this video. $120. 140. I'm just going to pull back gently. Hold that pull back. And I'm going to try and keep it very close to the ground as we take off. I'm just pushing that nose down, it's quite deliberate at the moment. And then as we exit the runway, we'll just pull off to the right and we'll head towards our first target. Yeah, the multi-threading update seems to be working very well. I need to test this with more aircraft, or if you have ideas on what I could test it with, please leave a comment. That would be helpful. But this is something I want to fly, so obviously I want to see how this works with this. We're just going to drop some bombs on our target over here on a pre-planned target, waypoint 1. And I did run this mission earlier today, or earlier this morning, and I did the primary target 1, 2 and 3, so I know they're all completable. But we're just going to quickly do the run on mission target 1. There may or may not be air-to-air fighting, just depending on what happens with the AI, so we'll see how that eventuates as well. Enjoy. We're going to come up to the target in about 2 minutes 17, but we'll keep looking at that FPS in the top left of the screen.
Altitude.
I'll just leave a comment. Probably the biggest thing I think you can do to improve the FPS in this game is to get an SSD. It can be any SSD. It can be an external SSD linked by USB-C and run the game off that, or it can be an internal SSD. You can get much faster SSDs, of course, plugged into the motherboard with the M2s and stuff. But any SSD is going to improve this game much more than you would be with a normal, ordinary hard drive. We're coming up to my target in 45 seconds, so I'll concentrate on that maybe.
Altitude. Altitude. Tap flare. Altitude. Altitude. Tap flare. Tap flare.
So we got the mission objective. We got him firing at me just at the moment, just trying to get away slightly. We're going to have a little bit of an air-to-air combat depending on what happens with the computer AI. It does appear.
Altitude. Altitude.
But we just want to get away from the target just a little bit before we start engaging in air combat. So we're just going to head out this way. And then we'll get ourselves set up for air, if you can follow.
Altitude. Altitude.
So you can see what's going on. And we've just got a MiG-29 following us here, so we'll do a little engagement with him if we're able. Just waiting for him to come over. Should be off to our left slightly. Should be right in front of me. There he is. And he's destroyed. So that's a quick mission. With the new multi-threading update for DCS. And I'm really impressed. It's running smoothly. I would use this over the ordinary version at the moment, at least with my own mission. And this plane. We'll try and land the plane and then go on the ground and shut it down. But yeah, look, in first person is really good.
Altitude. 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 Warning, warning.
Yeah, it looks like a quite good improvement, the multi-threading, at least from my first impressions. And you can see my frames per second in the top left of the screen. Impressed, really impressed, great. I would like to use this more. So yeah, that's the multi-threading update which came out today for DCS. Check it out if you haven't updated your game yet. And that's also my little mission that I use. If you want to run it on the exact same mission that I did and see how your frames per second is, please do. And you can see the settings that I'm using in this mission at the very start of this video. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.